I'm sure you've all seen the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case by now. I think every YouTuber on the planet at this point has made a video about it, except for me, so I think I should probably jump in on it and give my opinions. First of all, I am absolutely on the side of Johnny Depp. I believe he is a victim. He is absolutely in the right. He deserved to win his trial. I absolutely believe that Amber Heard is in the wrong and did everything wrong, lied in court, and absolutely deserved to not win. But according to this domestic abuse expert, Amber Heard is in the right, and she is a victim.
Ms. Heard is a victim of domestic violence. I firmly believe that there are other things that are present in, or were present in their relationship. I don't think that negates the fact that Ms. Heard was a victim of domestic violence.
So starting off already, she's saying that Amber Heard is possibly abusive, but is also a victim of domestic abuse and domestic violence.
If there was anyone that would have understood, particularly on the jury, but also in the courtroom, the dynamics of domestic violence, I believe that even the defamation verdict would have turned out differently.
So basically, what she said, in the most dumbed down version I can think of, is no one in the courtroom or in the jury had any f***ing clue what domestic violence is. That's what she's trying to say. Do I agree with that? I don't know. I'm not an expert. But from what I can tell from this video, neither is she.
So what people are missing here in regards to domestic violence and the dynamics of domestic violence are several things, actually. The idea that someone with power and control would continue to use a system to maintain that power and control, that there are no perfect victims of domestic violence. I think there was always this betrayal, and certainly externally, that Ms. Heard was not perfect.
As far as I can tell, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I can tell, she's just spouting bullshit to try and confuse us, to make it seem like she's intelligent and making sense. She's the kind of person that goes on Quora and answers questions.
Having experts in the courtroom testifying on either side about other issues that are risk factors to domestic violence but are not risk factors, such as mental health. It was very discouraging, and at the point where I quit watching the trial so intently when it was framed that Ms. Heard may have a mental health issue.
So, I assume you all caught that. She didn't watch the whole trial. She stopped watching when the experts showed up. This woman claims to be an expert herself, and yet when challenged by her peers in the field, she shook in her boots and decided that that was enough. She wasn't watching any more of those lies in court. I don't think you should be allowed to give your opinion if you haven't watched the entire thing, or at least watched past the part where the experts come in, because really that's when everything is kind of decided. She didn't see any of the stuff after that. Like, how can she make a decision on it if she hasn't seen the majority of the case?
Many, many times, victims of domestic violence will actually respond to the violence with violence. It's a defense mechanism.
What she's doing here is victim blaming. She's blaming the victim. She's saying that Amber Heard only used violence because Johnny Depp used violence, and yet there is zero proof of Johnny Depp actually abusing Amber Heard. There's no proof of it. There's no videos, there's no audio, there's no nothing. With Amber Heard, there's pictures, there's videos, there's audio, there's everything. There's text messages. Literally anything you can think of is there. And yet Amber Heard was only responding to Johnny Depp.
The idea of mutual abuse came up in the trial, and it is something that we don't recognize as domestic violence experts. It's actually quite harmful to call it mutual abuse, because by calling it that, you're blaming the primary victim and not holding the abuser accountable. There is, from our perspective, there is always a primary aggressor.
I absolutely agree. There usually is a primary aggressor. That will be Amber Heard. See, the problem with what she's saying is she's saying one thing and then saying, we don't call this thing that I just said this name because that means we're victim blaming. Just because you're not using that word doesn't mean you're not doing it.
For some of us, particularly those who are victims and survivors and women doing this work, we recognize that the patriarchal system still exists. Women and children will always be marginalized.
What? I'm sorry, what? Do you know the statistics for how many men go to court and sue for domestic violence and win their cases? I don't, but I'm asking, do you? Because I am pretty sure, without even doing any research, I'm pretty sure there's a lower percentage chance that a man will win that case. I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there.
For victims and survivors who have watched this, they've probably been triggered, number one, which means that it brings up issues that they are either dealing with currently or that they've dealt with in the past. I know as a survivor myself, there was a triggering a couple of weeks ago.
So let me get this straight. This woman that is the domestic abuse, domestic violence expert is also a survivor of domestic violence. Now, I'm not trying to play it off. I'm going to be real for a minute. Domestic violence is a serious issue. I'm not going to joke about it, but she's basing all of what she's saying on her own experience. And you can tell because she stopped watching the case about halfway through. So she's now just going off what she believes from her own experience.
What I'd like to say as a concrete movement, which is reach out, say, I have your back. You don't have to talk about it until you're ready. Let me know what you need. Whenever you're ready, I am here for you. And make that happen. There's also, of course, the National Domestic Violence Hotline. And then, of course, for family, friends, and others who need referrals and resources, we are available on our website to do that. Please don't let this instance prevent you from using your voice if you so choose and seeking safety if you so choose. We will continue to fight for you in every way that we can.
If I was a victim of domestic violence, I would not want this woman to fight for me because I know she would fight against me eventually because she doesn't seem to be able to pick the right side of this particular case. If she had watched any of the trial, in fact, she would know, just from watching a few minutes, she would know that Johnny Depp is absolutely the victim. Or, as she put it, Amber Heard is absolutely the primary aggressor. This woman said to use your voice, and yet when Johnny Depp decided to stand up and use his voice and say that he is in fact the victim in the relationship, she's saying, no, you're a man. The only reason you won the case is because of the patriarchy. She realizes how ridiculous that sounds when it's said by someone else, right? What I got from this is she thinks Amber Heard is in the right because women are marginalized sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. And men bad. But not all the time. But sometimes. Most of the time. And the patriarchy! There's always going to be people out there that are just idiots, that are wrong about things. These so-called experts that probably can't tie their own shoelaces. You know, there's nothing wrong with having Velcro shoes, but you have to be able to admit it, alright? You can't go around hiding the Velcro and saying you're an expert in tying shoelaces, and here's your evidence that she wears Velcro shoes. Thank you guys for watching. I know this video was uploaded on a weekday, very strange. I usually upload on a Sunday, but I thought this is relevant now. I think it needs to be talked about, and I decided, why the hell not? Thank you guys for watching the entire way through the video. If you liked it, slap that like button. There's also a subscribe button down there, and I would really appreciate if you slapped that as well, because 78% of my viewers are not subscribed. You would be doing me a massive favor by subscribing and watching the rest of my videos, because there's not really that many, and I think at least one of them is funny. Thank you guys once again so much for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.
Draw me closer to your side. Take